Good morning once again. I would like to first mention that we have the honor and pleasure to have in our presence UNESCO's Jacaranda, who is actually our new representative here in Nairobi. And to also mention Alice Gorech, the African Telecommunications Union, who for the first time is partnering with the Internet Kenya Telescope and ISO Kenya in not just hosting and organizing this 5th Kenya IGF, but also the East African IGF, because we've got a very important issue coming up globally this year at the international level, at the International Telecommunication Union level, where we're beginning to review what we're calling the international regulations, and that's why we have a pleasure of working with this year. And with UNESCO, it's a pleasure to actually have this concretizing this relationship with you. We are going to be honored with the presence of Dr. Tanya Demo in about a few minutes. He actually told us to mention that it will be delayed. And unfortunately, Honorable James Reg is not going to make it. He had a constituency this morning, so I needed to mention that as well. But a great honor to actually have all of you here today. My colleague Alice Gorech and I just mentioned that it's really nice to see such a huge, a large group of women, and very high level women, from Article 19 to human rights, to race and the others. It's quite a pleasure because for the longest time, the world of IGF and IGF was actually dominated by males, and so it's quite a pleasure to see this. As I mentioned again, my name is Alice Munyua. I've been convening the Kenya IGF and the East African IGF since 2008. This is the 5th one that we're holding, and Kenya has also been convening the East African IGF. And last year we convened, coordinated, and organized the global one, the Internet Governance Forum that took place at the UN, which was again a intergovernmental session, which I chaired. So for me, in terms of a roadmap, the broader roadmap is to mention that I think this will be the last year that I'm actually coordinating this. The coordination of it is now going to be handled by ISO Kenya, and ISO Kenya is a very young organization, so it's my pleasure to be handing over to an organization that's coming up, and we're going to so I'm looking forward to working with them. So it's a way of handing over to youth. I'm already over 40, so it's important that we hand over. In terms of just how we prepare for the day-to-day, we've reversed the sessions, waiting for Dr. Demo, because it's important. So we have the opening welcome remarks and the keynote speech when he gets here. So we go straight to the introduction, to the introductory session that's looking at the international telecommunication regulations, and the presentation is going to be done by Alice Gorech, who's representing industry. And then after tea, we have our data protection bill and freedom of information bill discussed, Article 19, and other organizations. We'll also have a session on e-government and infrastructure issues. And then after lunch, we're going to come back to discuss the Internet Corporation for assigned names and numbers, and begin to look at the list of new applications for new generic top-level domain names, because they are important. They're important for the reasons that Grace Bob mentioned earlier, because they're going to be affecting the way we actually engage with the internet. We are no longer just going to have .com, .org. We're going to be having .sex, .gay. And so the question we're going to be asking ourselves is, are they sensitive and controversial from a Kenyan perspective? And what does that mean? And what do we take back to the international arena to say, they're controversial within our law, and so we as Kenya say we do not support that application to go forward. So that's the reason why we have decided it's very important to actually discuss the new GTLs and what they mean at the Kenyan level. And then we're going to be looking at intermediary liability. Quite a number of people are asking, what are intermediary liabilities? Very simple, although Grace will explain. It's simply infrastructure providers. Most of them are ISPs or mobile service providers, Safaricom and the rest, and beginning to consider, can we hold them liable for content generated elsewhere by content service providers, by user-generated content? Are they going to be held liable? We have seen a trend in the US and the UK where websites are being forced to close is that normal? Is that a normal trend? Is that a trend we want to see in Kenya? And are there laws that regulate that area? So that's what the session is going to look at. And then in the afternoon, the last session will be looking at the future of the Kenya IGF. And again, I saw Kenya here having taken the mantle. I'm going to be giving us an idea of how they intend. Okay. They're going to be giving us an idea of how they intend to take the Kenya IGF forward. And then we are also going to be looking at our contributions to the East African IGF. The East African IGF is taking place this month here at the Jacaranda on 17th and 18th, with the whole of 18th dedicated to looking at the international telecommunication regulations to ensure that the East African region has a position on that. So that's the roadmap of the Kenya IGF. And now I'd like to it's my pleasure to introduce the first session on international telecom regulation, but a very brief introduction. Now, the international telecommunication regulations were set up, or rather were developed in last developed in 1998 by member states. They are considered old now, old because of the internet. I'm sure most of you, because of course of the technological advancement, I'm sure most of you have read a lot of controversial articles regarding the ITR and the so-called World Conference on International Telecommunication. We should be looking at the ITR. A lot of controversy. But I think the controversy here is actually about a matter of definition. And what we need to ask ourselves is internet part of telecommunication or not? And if it is, should the internet appear on the international telecommunication regulations? I think that's the important thing. When the ITRs were set, they were historically only set to deal with the world of telephony and telecommunication in terms of how big telecoms interact with each other in an international context, setting up of systems and revenue sharing. So that has changed, obviously, because technology has changed. So that's exactly what they're going to be discussing. And what we want to see is what is Africa proposing. We have seen what other countries are proposing. What is Africa proposing? And whatever African member states are proposing, is it agreeable to us as stakeholders of the internet community and people and institutions that form part of the internet ecosystem? Do we agree with those proposals? So I think I'd like to hand over to Alice, African Telecommunication Union, to start us off. Thank you very much, and you're all welcome again.